How do you go about and how do you envision building a team to do this? Because where PagerDuty sits, it's very expansive. Like you said, it's not just for DevOps, not just for developers anymore. So I would imagine your team has to be versed in multiple things, right? From the support ticket generation to the resolution. But the difference is you're talking about, you already mentioned 700 implementations or integrations. You have to have the foresight, or if I'm architecting a PagerDuty flow, I call them flows. You probably have a different term for it, but I have to have the foresight of how this customer is going to engage the business, how the information is going to flow, who are the players that can solve this problem, and then what tools do they need to be able to solve this problem, because now I got to do the downstream integrations. What do you look for in terms of team members to do this? Because not everyone's going to have that experience or that knowledge of all these toolkits that you're going to be integrating.
I want to put another twist to it. Do you know where the magic is? Human and data science. The best combination for the leading customer success groups, which I believe we are one of them, is how do you use data science on how the customer is using your product to the people in your organization. So let me step back and share with you what is the customer success organization at PagerDuty as an example. It has customer success managers that are at the tip of the spear in terms of driving the adoption, the deployment, and ultimately becoming the trusted advisors for the customer. We have professional services that will come in and do your implementations. We have the support engineers that are deeply engaged, as are the customer success managers with our product team, to hear the customer's point of view. What are their requirements? What is it that is they're calling us for? We have a data science team that is at the heart of understanding how our customers are using our product. We have the PagerDuty University that is enabling our customers to understand our product a lot better. And last but not the least, a very important part of the SaaS business, which is recurring revenue, so the renewals team as well. You have to have the right operating model as a customer success organization. And what do I mean by operating model? People, process, technology. What is the data science? But also common tools so that you have a 360 view of the customer, whether they're making support calls, whether our services teams are engaging, whether our customer success teams are engaging, whether our PagerDuty University teams are engaging with the customer. How are we engaging with them between digital and human, and as well as to help their success, as well as driving the overall organization on the right processes. As I mentioned already, the systems and then the people. It's the right combination of people that are not acting like customer service agents that are reactive, but are leaning in and understanding the customer problem and proactively engaging in solving their business problem.
I like that. You got it. Sounds like a multifaceted team that's going to get that done. You mentioned, of course, on the surface, if someone says, hey, customer success is all about another customer success, yeah, that seems pretty obvious. My question for you is, how do you measure it? Because that's another thing that I think a lot of new customer success leaders in tech software platforms, they don't really know what measurement is. Because if you measure it by renewals are a lagging indicator, right? Because if they don't renew, you did a bad job. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? And if you do get renewals, you did a good job. But what in the process between contract execution to renewal time, how do you measure your team's success?
You nailed it. A churn or a downgrade a customer does during a renewal process is a lagging indicator. The leading indicator upfront is, did they deploy or not deploy? Did they deploy on a part of their organization, or did they, even before adopting, did they deploy? If they bought 1,000 licenses, did they deploy 90% of it or not? And then did they optimize on it? So let me talk about the role of customer success team and how that customer success organizations are moving from becoming, again, reactive to proactive.
Yeah.
So a reactive customer success organization will drive churn and downgrade and renewal rates. That's at the heart of it. But keep in mind, that's at the heart of the top line of the company.
Right.
And for people that don't have a deep understanding of SaaS companies, if you keep the platform to have very high renewal rates, every time a salesperson sells software, that's only incremental. But if it's a leaky bucket and that platform starts dropping in terms of high attrition and low renewal rates, then you have to resell to make up for it. So churn and downgrade is at the heart of a growth of a company, but that's not enough. It is also in terms of the role of customer success, folks, is if you're driving 90% deployment and if you've bought 100 licenses and you're going to do that with speed, then they'll need more licenses. And that becomes an engine. And that's why we have so many customers buying our products more often than even before their renewal rates. But now we've become a multi-product company as well. So how do we measure our organization? We measure our organization by number one, churn and downgrade. Next is deployment and adoption. And here's the third kicker. When you're driving deployment and you're driving adoption of a customer, there may be certain products that they may not have bought. For example, if they've got too much noise and you're helping the customer drive success and they have too much noise and there's an opportunity for them to automate, the customer success managers can have that discussion with the customer saying, if you optimize your infrastructure, either with automation or having the right architecture with our services organization or with our automation tools, they are creating more opportunities for our sales team to sell, but most importantly, to drive the success of the customer. So we are becoming not only the churn and downgrade engine to maintain that for the company, but we are driving the net retention of our customers and expanding in our customers. That's why our renewal rates are greater than 95%, but our net retention numbers are greater than 120% for our customers, which is world class.
There you go. 95% of customers stay on. 120, of those customers, they end up having more than 120. Yeah, more 120% of services. We've had a lot of different people on our show, and I just like how you just brought it down to like, hey, listen, yes, renewals and retention, but listen, you got to deploy. That's the key to what I would assume is the key to PagerDuty success is the fact that you're constantly figuring out ways to help notify more people into that value chain. And like you said, CEOs already want this. They already want a better digital experience. They want better customer service. They know that customers now today, all of our interactions are digital. They know that we're, like you said earlier, not very loyal as customers. We will go to the path of least resistance. So it makes total sense that if your team can figure out new solutions that more people can utilize, that's where it is, because that's what every CEO wants. And that's what we as customers want, which is probably the most important, I think. Because when I talk to companies like yourself, I always think to myself, well, how does it benefit me? Because inherently, I think all humans are a little bit selfish. They want to know, like, how's it going to make my life better? And that's the reality. If companies are better at servicing us as customers, we win. And you win.
Absolutely. You're synthesizing this really well, because here's what's happening in the market. Chief customer officers are now getting into growing into CEOs because customer experience is becoming so important. I just read in the Financial Times on how they're in line to become CEOs, because that customer centricity is super important. It's about driving the growth of the customers, the success of the customers, and in parallel, the customer success organizations becoming front and center in the CEO agenda, rather than a reactive group just servicing the customers, driving instead the success of the customers. That change of terms, customer service to customer success, is very, very important as we are transitioning in the industry on driving greater customer experience.
Well, Manjula, it was awesome having you on the show. We look forward to seeing more continued success. I personally can't wait for your AI tools to come into more companies because I want that more proactive experience. I think we all benefit from it. Probably the most fired up thing you just shared was just that right there. So if you're out there in IT listening to this show and you think to yourself, how do I get a seat at the biggest table, right? The CEO seat. You become customer success centric. If you can figure that out, there's always going to be a place for you at every company because essentially that's what everybody wants. Hey, thanks for watching. This segment is brought to us by Salesforce Platform. Visit salesforce.com/newsletter to discover timely insights and useful tips tailored to your role. Subscribe to this channel and get more great IT and tech interviews with top industry leaders.